Smackdown tonight. Good show. Not too bad. Man, gotta love Apollo Crews' heel turn. I gotta admit, that was one of the best things going on the show. Man, that attire Apollo Crews had on, man, that was freaking awesome. But who I didn't love seeing on my TV was none other than Baron Corbin. And speaking of Baron Corbin, we got Roman Reigns addressing Edge's WrestleMania decision. We have Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio continuing their SmackDown tag team feud with Otis and Chad Gable. Otis and Chad Gable continuing their runs as heels. And we got WWE continuing to build up the new heel Apollo Crews. And then we got Bianca Belair selecting Sasha Banks as her WrestleMania 37 opponent. So it's official. It will be Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. WrestleMania 37 for the SmackDown Women's Champion. And then we got the Street Profits versus Sami Zayn and Corbin. Which I don't know why. Who the heck asked for this match? Nobody. So then we got Seth Rollins offering Cesaro a chance to embrace the vision, which Cesaro did not accept. He just simply said no thanks. Then we got Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso, which that was ruined by Roman Reigns. That match happened, but it never even got to finish due to Roman Reigns ruining the match, breaking up the pin. So we got all that, everything else to go over right here on my Ingram Wrestling News YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, my Ingram Wrestling News subscribers, moderators, fans, and viewers. This is Ingram Wrestling News' very own Brendan here with your February 26, 2021 SmackDown review. And like I said, tonight's SmackDown was a good show. Had some fun segments, had some good segments, and not so many good matches on the show, but it did have some good segments to it. That's all I'm going to say. So before we get started, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button and turn on that bell for notifications. Please subscribe. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'm dangerously close to 200 subscribers. I currently have 158 right now. But I am definitely close to 200. So if you can help me get to 200, man, maybe I can do something special on the channel. Maybe I can buy a new game. Maybe I can stream a new game. A game I probably haven't even played before. Something special, man. Or maybe I can even go live on YouTube and ask, what y'all want me to do. What y'all want me to do when I reach 200. You know what I mean? Or I could just simply do extra streaming for reaching 200, and then I could just keep going. But seriously, folks, hit that subscribe button. I'm dangerously close to 200. I'm on the road to 1,000. Subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Ingram Wrestling. Follow me on Twitch at Ingram Wrestling News. And if I'm missing anything, please let me know in the chat. Please and thank you. Now, we're going to go ahead and get started with the review. So, this week's show opens with a look back at Elimination Chamber, where Daniel Bryan won the namesake match to earn a shot at Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. He basically won the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match. So, Roman defeated Bryan rather quickly, but Edge speared Reigns shortly they are after to stake his claim for WrestleMania Showdown. Now, I don't understand why it was a 30-second Universal Championship match. I don't even understand why they even had this match started. They should have waited until WrestleMania 37. It absolutely made no sense. Absolutely made no sense in them trying to fucking start the match right after the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match. You know, they should have waited till WrestleMania 37, man. I don't even know why WWE is going with this match for Elimination Chamber. It just doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense even more is this Edge and Reigns feud. This Edge and Reigns feud to me just doesn't make sense. And I have to agree with my buddy J to the D over there. I really have to agree with that guy. I also think Edge and Reigns for WrestleMania 37 makes no sense at all. I gotta agree with JD on this. I really gotta agree with this guy, man. It really doesn't make sense to me. When I first heard it, man, I thought, oh my god, are they really going with this? But then now, I'm starting to think it really just doesn't fit. And I'll tell you one thing, Edge versus Reigns absolutely does not deserve to main event WrestleMania. A match that deserves to main event WrestleMania, I think, is Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Why would anybody want Edge and Roman Reigns to main event WrestleMania? The storyline makes no sense. The feud makes no sense. After the Rumble, the Bryan and Reigns feud should have started right after the Rumble, not after fucking Elimination Chamber. Oh, now you want to start Reigns and Bryan feud after Elimination Chamber? After you on my Rumble review, I said the Reigns and Bryan feud should be starting right after the Royal Rumble. I said that. Now all of a sudden, here we are. Here we are 5-6 days after the Elimination Chamber. They're already thinking about doing a Bryan and Reigns feud on SmackDown. Here we are. WWE Vince and Bruce already thinking about the Reigns and Bryan feud already. Now they want to take the last minute to start a Reigns and Bryan feud. Please tell me WWE is not going with two feuds. Tell me they are not having Reigns feud with Edge and Bryan at the same time. How stupid does this sound? You have Reigns feuding with Edge, and now you got Reigns feuding with Bryan? Unless Bryan's feuding with J Uso. Which I don't think that's happening. Why is Bryan involved with the Edge and Reigns feud? Bryan and Reigns should be feuding, not Edge and Reigns. Oh, but Edge chose Reigns for WrestleMania 37. Oh, and you know what? It was all because of the fucking Edge IWC geeks in the fucking community. They are the ones that chose this. So if Reigns loses, well, we know who to all blame it on. Bruce and Vince and the WWE Edge fans. The IWC version and the Tribal Chief does not look pleased. Roman waits out a "You suck" chant from the fans, from the virtual geeks, and says it's no secret that SmackDown needs him. The same thing can be said of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, and he answered the call. That's what the Tribal Chief does. He saves the WWE over and over, just like JD is the only greatest number one podcaster in the IWC. Just throwing it out there. I mean, I'm inspired by the guy. I mean, what you negative people out here in the community got to say? What? I'm inspired by the guy. I can't help it. Jesus Christ. He did what he said he would do and destroyed Daniel Bryan. Roman calls it the most exciting ass whooping of the year, maybe the decade. Roman continues that anyone else in his position would be bragging or celebrating, but not him. He's above that. He operates at a higher level, and nobody gets it. Yeah, just like Bruce and Vince doesn't get it when we're always getting this Monday Night Raw and SmackDown complete garbage every week. They don't seem to understand that fans are getting tired of it. And they just don't give a shit. They simply don't give a shit. Vince or Bruce just doesn't get it. I feel like it's gonna go on and on and on and on and on until Vince or Bruce gets fired from WWE. I'm hoping Vince and Bruce gets fired now. Vince needs to get removed. Bruce needs to get fired now. Vince needs to get removed now. They suck. They're terrible. Bruce sucks as executive director, and Vince sure as hell sucks as chairman. Tell you that much. That's the fucking truth. I'm just throwing it out there. Sorry, Sasha. I know you love Vince so much, but a lot of us in the IWC don't, including myself. But hey, I do love what you do. I do love what you do in the ring, and you are my favorite SmackDown Women's Champion. Heck, I like you more than I like Vince. That's like saying my buddy Vince likes Mike Pence more than Donald Trump. Or let's put something like, or let's put it this way. That's like my cousin saying he likes Obama more than he likes Mike Pence. That's an example. I love Sasha Banks more than I love Vince. I don't like Vince. I don't love Vince at all. Nobody likes Vince. Why? Because he ruins main roster NXT talents. Every time the NXT talents get called up to the main roster, he ruins them, he buries them and wastes them, and then they ultimately get sent right back to their brand. Bruce buries NXT talent to Vince. That's what it is. And and then you got some of these geeks in the community complaining, saying, oh, Vince is just doing that because it's better for business. Because it's best for business. No, it's not best for business. It's just simply best for them and not best for us. What's best for us is them using the NXT talents and booking them correctly, properly, and letting them keep their interest instead of changing their interests, messing up their interests, ruining their fucking runs on the main roster and all that. You know? Why can't NXT talent just simply be used properly on TV instead of being wasted and buried on the main roster? Come on, man. Really. Man, Vince's fucking hair is gonna turn gray. He's gonna look like that fucking KFC man. He's gonna look like that KFC man with the black fucking mustache and the fucking white tie. That's what Vince is gonna be looking like when Vince gets a lot more older. 20 years from now, guarantee it. So anyways, Roman says he's perfect, but Sunday night wasn't because of Edge. He admits that Edge got one up on him and speared him on his night, and then he pointed at the sign and made it official. Roman Reigns versus Edge in the main event of WrestleMania. He warns Edge right now that he doesn't want or need that match. So he's going to give Edge another chance to back out and save himself. Go home to his beautiful family because he doesn't want to hurt him. He says he appreciates what Edge is all about. He's a father and his story is incredible. So he doesn't want to hurt him. And a man like Edge doesn't stand a chance against a man like him. Daniel Bryan Man, oh man, Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, that's what we need. That's what should have happened after the Rumble. Bryan and Reigns feud should have started after the Rumble, but no. Bruce and Vince didn't want to go with that. They wanted to do the opposite. They wanted to have Edge. They wanted to set up Edge versus Reigns for WrestleMania 37 instead of not setting up Bryan versus Roman Reigns for WrestleMania 37. I don't get it, man. Typical WWE creative trash right there, man. Seriously. Daniel Bryan comes out to the ring wearing a flannel shirt and jeans. Bryan says Roman described his title defense as nearly perfect, and he agrees completely. Bryan sarcastically says Roman is amazing and magnanimous for defending his title against someone who just survived the Elimination Chamber. He then says some people say what Roman Reigns did was cowardice. Ooh. Some bold words from Daniel Bryan. You could tell it was getting heated real fast. A man like that isn't a champion, but that's not what he said. He's just addressing rumors. However, he really wasn't expecting the head of the table to have to defend his title in the second match of the show, and he always knew he was special. Well, he can make things right and set the record straight, prove everyone that he is the best by defending his Universal Championship against him one more time at Fastlane. J Uso snatches the mic from Bryan and asks why he's out here making excuses. Jay says Bryan needs to get to the back of the line if he wants to be anywhere near the head of the table. Uso tells him to get gone before he gets got. Roman then gets in Bryan's face and asks if he really wants him to hurt him again before Bryan can speak. J Uso attacks him and tosses him out of the ring. Jay then throws Bryan over the barricade, and Roman watches on laughing. I really enjoyed this opening segment, man. My thoughts on this, man, honestly, to be honest, this was a really, really, really great opening segment. I'm always impressed with Reigns because he always does a great job. He's doing a good job with his heel character. Reigns is honestly so great right now, folks. Bryan was at his antagonistic best. Antagonistic best too. So, seriously, Reigns as a negotiational champion, propping himself up despite the circumstances, folks, under which he retained his title, was simply fantastic. It was really, really fantastic. It was phenomenal. Subtly threatening Edge by reminding him of his family was equally exciting. It was excellent. It was Bryan seemingly manipulating Reigns by playing to his desire to be recognized as the main event that made this even better. The leader of the Yes movement has a history of poking and prodding to get his rivals to react the way he wants them to. Remember the Authority, folks? Remember them? Huh? Remember that fucking feud with Bryan and Kane? Remember that one? What about the feud with Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins? Remember that one too? I'm just throwing some of Daniel Bryan's feuds out there. Edge entering the office and taking exception to Bryan potentially getting a shot before him makes sense. I guess. That makes sense, but the Reigns and Edge feud doesn't make sense to me. The only thing that doesn't make sense is the Reigns Edge feud. Reigns and Edge feud still doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why. But there is something about this feud that just doesn't make sense. Edge and Reigns. Oh, that's right. Why it doesn't make sense? Why the Edge Reigns feud doesn't make sense, folks? Well, two answers. Number one, there's no story or history between Edge and Reigns, and a spear versus a spear is definitely not the way to go about it. I think this was a bad... I still think to this day that it was a bad decision to have Edge to win the Royal Rumble. I still think it was. I am never going to forget it. I still think it was a worse decision that WWE's ever made. I think the right decision was to have Daniel Bryan win it. Still. I still think to this day it should have been Bryan winning that Royal Rumble. Should have been. But even though I'm not really that interested in this Edge and Reigns feud, even though to me it doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not the only one that's saying this. It doesn't make sense to JD either. And it probably doesn't make sense to the majority of the community. The majority of the community is probably not enjoying this. Most of them are, but a tiny bit of them are not. There's a few people in the community that are not enjoying this Reigns and Edge feud for a lot of reasons. And I just explained two reasons. There's more than two reasons to this feud. I'm telling you. Now, Edge entering the office and taking exception to Bryan potentially getting a shot, I will say this. It makes sense. I will say that makes sense. Just the feud doesn't. And it's something we don't see explored nearly enough in WWE. It exposes a logic gap after many years of fans wondering what the point of the Rumble is when the title is defended before WrestleMania anyway. Folks, this was a great start to the show. That sets up a blockbuster match between Bryan and Uso in the main event. That set up a match between those two. They had a hell of a match at the end of Smackdown. And it teased the pay-per-view main event. And interestingly, it hints at hostility between Bryan and Edge that can be built upon in the weeks and months to come. I don't think I'm liking this, folks. I'm liking it and I'm not. I'm not going to say why I'm liking it. I'm not going to explain why I don't like it, but I will explain why I do like it. I do like it because there kinda is a story between Edge and Bryan, but not much. We haven't really seen no history between Edge and Bryan. But a first time ever match between Edge and Bryan would be great. Just don't have them feuding, just put them in a match. Dream match. I don't understand why you would want to go with a Bryan and Edge feud. It wouldn't make sense. Just like the Reigns and Edge feud doesn't make sense. Just it creatively doesn't make sense, folks. It's the way the story is. It's the way WWE is going with this. That's why I say the Reigns and Edge feud doesn't make sense. It's the way they're going with the storyline. It's the way it is. I don't know if it's the way it's being built. I don't know if it's the way the feud's continuing. I don't know, but it just doesn't make sense. But great start to SmackDown. That's all I got to say. I am interested to see what they're going to do with Edge and Bryan. Are they going to book Edge versus Bryan after WrestleMania for the next pay-per-view? I mean, it wouldn't make sense to book Bryan versus Edge for WrestleMania 37. Why would you want that? Definitely, most certainly would not make sense to book Bryan versus Reigns versus Edge for the Universal Championship. Wait a minute. Daniel Bryan versus Reigns versus Edge for the Universal Championship. Who in here in the chat thinks that they're going to do that? I don't know. I think that's where WWE could be going. Could be going with Bryan versus Reigns versus Edge for the SmackDown Universal Championship. That's where they could be going. I don't know. That's where I think they're going, possibly. I'm not sure, and I'm just throwing it out there, man. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I hope everybody in the chat is enjoying my review so far. Please don't say my review's bad, because it's not bad. I'm trying to make it good. This review is only specifically for people who's missed SmackDown, who didn't get to watch SmackDown tonight. Anyways, moving on to the next here. So, Bianca, it said later tonight Bianca would make her WrestleMania decision, which she did. The Street Profits faced Corbin and Zayn, which they did, which the Street Profits ultimately ended up winning. Otis and Gable teamed up against Rey Mysterio and Dominik, which Otis and Gable won that match too. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville were talking in the GM's room, and Edge walks in and says he needs to talk. So we had a commercial break. Roman Reigns is backstage, and he hands Heyman his title and tells him to leave them alone. Jey apologizes for jumping the gun, but Roman tells him it's okay. He just needs to get the job done. Edge is with Pearce and Deville, and he isn't happy. Edge says last he heard he would be teaming with Daniel Bryan to take on J Uso and Roman Reigns, but now it's a singles match that could upend his WrestleMania decision. Pearce says the match just fell in their lap, and Edge knows as well as he does that a title match is a bigger draw. Edge walks out. So we got Otis and Gable coming to the ring, and we see a replay from last week where Otis crushed Rey Mysterio with splashes multiple times. Otis laughs as Rey stares at him from the ring with taped ribs. We got Rey, I think I said it right though. Rey and Dominik Mysterio versus Chad Gable and Otis. I hope I'm talking right, and I hope I'm not stuttering to y'all. I'm not trying to, man. I'm trying to talk in my clear voice, which I believe I am. Sometimes I don't believe in what I'm doing, and sometimes I do. We all believe in what we do. We all don't believe in what we do, you know? I mean, it happens. You have those feelings all the time. I'm pretty sure my Twitter followers have experienced those feelings when they do their reviews, I'm sure. I wasn't really enjoying Rey Mysterio. I wasn't really enjoying seeing Rey Mysterio and Dominik getting their asses beat by Chad Gable and Otis. I will be honest about that. Now, I will say that this is Dominik's 5th week in a row losing. And this is Rey Mysterio's 3rd week in a row losing. We cannot afford to see the Mysterios losing every week. WWE needs to somehow let Rey Mysterio and Dominik get the upper hand over Otis and Chad Gable. Or, you know what? Rey Mysterio might just either call it quits, or Dominik might just call it quits with him. Something needs to happen between this Rey Mysterio, Dominik, Otis, Chad Gable tag team feud. Something needs to happen with this feud, man. I don't even know why WWE even came up with this feud to begin with. To some of us, it makes sense. To some of us, it doesn't. So then Gable hits a gutbuster, continuing to target the rib. He continues to target the ribs and puts Rey in the corner. Mysterio kicks Chad back and avoids fireman's carry before connecting with an enziguri attacking his son. Dominik comes in hot and a clothesline and a wheelbarrow flinging that sends Chad head first into the turnbuckle. Dominik hits a tornado DDT for a 2 count. Then tags Rey for a double team powerbomb senton. Rey knocks Otis off the apron. Then he and Dominik hit stereo 619s to Chad. Rey goes up top and hits a frog splash, but Otis breaks the pin attempt. Dominik rushes in, but Otis drops him with a right hand. Then the referee forces him out of the ring. Otis tags himself in, and Rey springboards at him, but gets caught and slammed. Otis rips Rey Mysterio's tap off. He rips Rey Mysterio's tap off and heads up top and hits a splash for the win. I will say this, folks, from a match quality perspective, there was nothing particularly special about this one, which I already knew from watching it tonight. Now, in terms of building Gable and Otis into a serious threat in the tag team division, I guess I'll say that this was exceptional. But not only did they earn a win, they cleanly and decisively defeated a duo with extraordinary credibility. Rey Mysterio Dominik spent the last year as one of the most permanent acts in the company. Beating them means something. So, now Gable and Otis can conceivably challenge Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode or the Street Profits and believably beat them. Something that was not the case prior to this win. So it's been made official that J Uso would face Daniel Bryan. And if Bryan can win, he will get a Universal Championship shot at WWE Fastlane, which I hate to spoiler you. Spoiler alert, Daniel Bryan did not. Nobody didn't win the match. It was ruined by Roman Reigns. I think I've already said that. So we got a commercial break. Apollo Crews comes to the ring, and he holds up a green and white scarf and carefully places it over his neck. I loved this Apollo Crews promo segment here, man. I really love this. He says a lot of people have been wondering what's going on with him lately, but nobody knows him. For far too long, he's been nice, humble, respectful, but he never received that in return. Meaning he's never received that from the fans, he's never received that from anybody on social media, from nobody. From anybody. With his 5 wives. His word was law, and that's what he is strived for. He's wearing the colors of Nigeria that represent wealth, dominance, and power. Last week, Big E found that out firsthand. Big E told him to get back to catering, but instead he went back to his roots. Apollo speaks in a Nigerian accent and says he showed his opponent steel, and he said tonight Nakamura gets to sing. So Nakamura interrupts Crews and comes down to the ring as Shinsuke is posing by the ropes. Apollo attacks him. Crews tosses Nakamura out the ring and into the steel steps, then lifts the steps up, but the referee stands in his way. So we got Nakamura versus Apollo Crews again. Obviously, you know why I'm saying it again, because we've seen it before. We've seen this match before. So now we're seeing it again. Now, we're back live from commercial break, and the match is already underway with Apollo beating Shinsuke down in the corner. Cruz hits a lariat, then Irish whips Nakamura hard into the buckles. Cruz lifts Nakamura and hits a snap suplex for a 2 count. Cruz takes a headlock, but Shinsuke elbows himself free and tries to run, but gets caught with a German suplex. Now, I think Shinsuke was supposed to land on his feet, but he landed face first. Nakamura drops Apollo with a few kicks and drapes him over the top rope and kicks his head. Shinsuke follows up with a running knee for a near fall. Nakamura grabs a submission, but Apollo elbows him and lands 3 German suplexes for a near fall. Nakamura counters Apollo and hits a sidekick, then hangs him in the ropes before connecting with a sliding German suplex. Nakamura goes to the corner for the Kinshasa, but Apollo rolls from the ring. Nakamura chases after, but gets slammed into the steel steps. Cruz picks him back in the ring and lifts him, but Nakamura drops down the back and grabs a sleeper. Apollo goes to the corner and grabs his scarf, using it to slingshot Nakamura into the buckles. Cruz hits an angle slam for the win. Must have got that from Kurt Angle. Him and Kurt Angle must have been training or something. I don't know. Maybe he was paying a homage to Kurt Angle with that move. Who knows? It looked like he was paying a homage to him, though. Now, Shinsuke vs. Nakamura, we learned more about Cruz and his background in one promo than WWE has given us in his 4 years on the main roster. He was great here, in a big moment for himself and his character, really hammering home his new persona. Now, the match was a competitive one against a world-renewed legend in Nakamura, and Cruz's victory signifies a renewed push for the former United States champion. He is back, he is arguably better than ever, and the new character opens the door for him to achieve the sort of success he has not been afforded on the main roster to this point. The feud with Big E should be fantastic and produce potentially defining matches for both men. Hopefully Bruce and Vince does this shit right. Properly. Now, Reigns is sitting backstage when Heyman comes in and tells him that if Bryan wins tonight, he gets a Universal Championship shot at Fastlane. Heyman reiterates the if Bryan can win. Commercial break. We got Liv Morgan versus Tamina, which I about wanted to pick up the remote control, change the channel for the simple fact that I got real angry that Liv Morgan lost, because WWE is seemingly not wanting to push the Wyatt Squad for some awful reason. I don't know why. For some odd reason, I don't know why WWE is not wanting to give the Wyatt Squad the push that they've been wanting for years, I'm sure. You know, I really feel bad for Liv Morgan. And there was some kind of link coming up about Bo Dallas and Liv Morgan's farm, and Lana had visited there. Makes me wonder if Liv Morgan and Bo Dallas are actually dating or not. They could be. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Could be dating. Might be. But we have Liv Morgan versus Tamina. Now, I'm not sure why they would want to put Liv Morgan in the ring with a 100 or 200 something pound woman, such as Tamina. I don't know why they would want to put Liv Morgan in there with Tamina. I don't think that was right by WWE to put her in there with Tamina. You mean, look at the possibilities. Liv Morgan could have got injured. She would have been out for 4 to 6 weeks. Had Tamina damaged her even more, if she would have. This match wasn't interesting at all. This was more like a squash match. Squash beef match. Wasn't really no singles match, just squash match. Just a simple-matic, easy squash match for Tamina. I don't even know what they're doing with Tamina and Natalya. Could they be building them up? Could they be the next challengers for Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler's women's tag team titles? Makes me wonder if Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez are going to be losing to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, and we could perhaps get Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax versus Tamina and Natalya, which I'm hoping we are not going to get. Please no, Bruce. No. I hope we see Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax dropping those titles to Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, because Monday Night Raw sure ain't doing a hell of a good job with them. They're doing a terrible job with those titles. The women's titles need to go to NXT, and they need to be designed, and they need to have a new name, and they need to be known as the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. They need to be redesigned, and they need to be named, because WWE, to where they need to be renamed, redesigned to where WWE can never put their hands on those women's tag team titles again, to where Vince and Bruce can never ruin those titles again. To where the women's titles can be used correctly, because they weren't being used correctly on Raw, I'll tell you that much. Oh no, they did. They are doing, hell, they're doing terrible. They're doing more terrible with the women's titles than they're doing with the Raw Women's Championship. Makes me wonder why they put that Nia Jax and Asuka match on Raw. Now you got Asuka going. Now you got Nia Jax going right back at Asuka. Jesus Christ. Why are they letting Nia Jax injure all of these WWE female superstars? I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Never mind Nia Jax. Liv Morgan with Rule Rivers, Tamina, and Natalya. We're back live, and this random match is already underway. Tamina backs Liv into the corner, but Morgan kicks her back. Morgan rallies and lands some right hands, followed by a head scissors to send Tamina into the buckles. Liv runs, but Tamina drops her with a stiff big boot. Tamina snaps at Ruby on the floor before backing Liv into the corner, slamming her head into the buckles repeatedly. Tamina hits a running hip attack for a near fall. Liv tries to make a comeback, but Tamina clubbers her with a big elbow. Tamina lands a suplex for a near fall, and she's beginning to look frustrated. Morgan rallies and lands an enziguri that dodges a running Tamina. Drop kicks her into the corner. Liv lands some right hands and kicks Tamina back before hitting a missile drop kick for a 2 count. Tamina catches Liv and hits a Samoan drop, then screams at her. Tamina lifts Morgan and hits a spinning sidewalk slam for the win. Poor Liv Morgan. I feel really bad for her, man. I feel really bad for the Wyatt Squad. It seems to me like not only does WWE have no plans for Asuka, but it seems to me now that either WWE has no plans for the Wyatt Squad, or Vince and Bruce seemingly dropped the fucking plans. The original plans for the Riot Squad. Huh! Billy Kay, not to mention Billy Kay wasn't on SmackDown last night. I'm glad. Good. Please keep her off my TV. Do anything to keep Billy Kay off of everybody's TV. Nobody cares about Billy Kay. Please get her off. Please keep her off my fucking TV. I can't stand her. She's not entertaining. She is absolutely horrible. One of the worst fucking women's wrestlers I've ever fucking seen on television. Keep her off my TV, please. I'm glad she didn't show up. I'm glad she wasn't there. Anyhow, honestly, it never stops being disappointing that WWE Creative seemingly has no plans for the Riot Squad. At all. Period. Both Morgan and Riot have so much to give to the women's division. They deserve so much fucking more. Liv and Riot deserves more, folks. They have so much more to give to the women's division, but have repeatedly seen their momentum stunted in favor of a shinier new toy. Honestly, for the SmackDown creative team, this newly formed team is of greater importance than the Riot Squad, and as such, Snuka was rewarded the win. You know what this tells us? This tells us that history tells us that this will end the same way so many of the start and stop pushes for the veteran competitors have. Now I will say this, at least WWE is building talent, but why aren't they building their NXT talents that are on the main roster? That's what I want to know. Why are they building talents like Keith Lee? Well, now they're building Matt Riddle because, well, it's only the start of Matt Riddle as a United States champion. Matt Riddle is just beginning as a United States champion. I can't even talk tonight. I don't know why. My brain must not be functioning again. But Matt Riddle is just now beginning as United States champion. I hope they really fucking not ruin. I hope they don't ruin his run. Please don't do like you did Keith Lee. Please don't. It's funny how they're building up veterans, but yet they're not building up NXT talents. Bruce and Vince don't like NXT talents. Apparently they're jealous of how great of a success Triple H has made as producer. They are jealous of how good Triple H is doing with his NXT talents, with his brand. Not Pat McAfee for the brand, not that guy. Just saying. Yeah, at least WWE's building talent, but they're building talent that they've already built before, though. It's the problem. Even if it is not necessarily the talent it should probably be focusing on at this point. Okay. I'm just going to move on from that. I don't even want to go any more further talking about all that. I'm moving on. Bianca Belair is shown walking backstage. She'll make her WrestleMania opponent decision after a commercial break. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville are in the ring, and they welcome the first 2021 Royal Rumble winner. You know, I was thinking, Sonya Deville in the ring, right? So, at that moment, what if at WrestleMania 37, what if Sonya Deville comes out of nowhere and just freaking punches both of them in the face and ruins the match? What if Deville interferes and we get Deville involved? That's what I'm thinking. Something tells me they are going to have Bianca Belair feuding with Sonya Deville after WrestleMania 37. I just got that tiny bit of feeling that Bianca Belair's next feud is going to be with Sonya Deville. I just got that feeling. Just got that gut feeling. I don't know why. I just do. I just have that fucking feeling. It's going to happen. Two different styles feuding with each other. Sonya Deville with an MMA background. Bianca Belair with a track record. You know, she used to run track, play sports. Bianca Belair and Sonya Deville feud would be great, though. That'd be a great feud. Sonya Deville and Bianca Belair. That'd be great. They do it right. WWE goes with it right. That's a new feud. Rhea Ripley going to Smackdown, turning heel, feuding with Sasha Banks. That's a great feud. Rhea Ripley going back face, turning back face, feuding with Bayley. I really don't want to see Bayley turn back face. I really don't. I think her heel is a lot better now. Her heel turn's a lot better than her baby face. But anyways, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, they welcome the 2021 Royal Rumble winner, the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair, on my own, against the wall, you know. After coming to the ring, Belair says it's been exactly 3 weeks and 5 days since she won the Royal Rumble, and it changed her life. Deville asked her who she will be choosing as her WrestleMania opponent, and we see quick video packages for both Sasha Banks and Asuka. Belair says she knows everyone has waited patiently, and her mama always told her life is all about decisions. Well. Something my mom used to tell me too. Well, she's still alive though, but she still used to tell me. Your choices define who you are, and she has made hers. Before she can make her decision, Reginald comes out. Oh God, this is what ruined it right here. This is what ruined it right here. Reginald. Now I'm gonna call you Reggie. How about that one? Reggie says she is right. This choice will define her career in life. Last week, she saw how good Sasha Banks is and what makes her tick. She was elevated by the boss. We all know how hard Bianca worked to get here. She's special, but he knows if she chooses Sasha Banks, her dream will dissolve into a nightmare. Oh God. Tell me this is not leading to Rhea Ripley getting involved. I heard nightmare. You know who the nightmare is, right? Rhea Ripley. Just throwing it out there. Man, I was thinking, not only what if the possibility we could see Sonya Deville and Bianca Belair feuding after WrestleMania, I was thinking, what if we see Rhea Ripley feuding with Bianca Belair after WrestleMania? Because I just heard the word, I just mentioned nightmare. The word nightmare was in there in the promo during when Bianca Belair was cutting, when Reginald was cutting his promo. So, anyways, he knows if she chooses Sasha Banks, her dream will dissolve into a nightmare, and when she is staring up at the lights at WrestleMania, she will hear her mama's words about not making bad decisions. Bianca Belair turns on Reggie with her hair, but Sasha Banks' music hits and she makes her way to the ring. Banks stands beside Reggie and tells him to never speak for her. Banks says, enough of the waiting. She is more than a champion. She is the standard. So if Bianca wants to make history and be in the conversation, she'll choose her. Banks says she calls herself the EST of WWE. That's not true because she's number one, and that makes Bianca second. Banks holds her title up, and Belair says Sasha has a lot to say, and she's going to make her eat her words on the grandest stage of them all. Bianca points to the Wrestlemania sign and says it's on. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this Sasha Banks, and I'm enjoying this Sasha Banks Bianca Belair feud. I'm really enjoyed this. I'm really enjoying this. This should have graded out higher than it did, and honestly should have. It was hampered by the continued nonsense surrounding Reginald, though. Banks versus Belair is a match that sells itself without the added distraction of Vince McMahon's favorite new character. His involvement threatens what can be a historic show-stealing match in its own right, not to mention the build to say contest. The good news is the match still feels like a big deal and can very easily sustain that hype and excitement with continued excellence from the champ and her top competitor. Or should I say her top contender. Let's hope that. Anyway. Baron Corbin is warming up backstage when Sami Zayn and his cameraman get in his face. Zayn asks him how he feels about these conspiracy against him, and Corbin asks why they're teaming up tonight. Zayn says he asked for that match because they have obvious chemistry, and he needs a win right now. Zayn says with his strategic ability, we all know what strategic abilities are. Come on now. Corbin's power, they can, with strategic ability and Corbin's power, they can become tag team champions. Zayn spitballs some names for their team, and Corbin tells him to stop. Corbin admits that they can be a dominant team, but that Sami Zayn better not tell him what to do. Corbin tells Zayn to be more professional. I don't like this team as Sami Zayn and Corbin. Sami Zayn is better off by himself as a heel character, you know. He's better off as singles competitors. Corbin and Zayn are better off singles competitors. And really nobody gives a shit about Corbin, so WWE can do whatever the fuck he wants with him. I really don't care. I really don't care what they do with Corbin. I do care about what they do with Zayn, because Zayn is doing a really good job with his heel character. He's doing the best work of his career. I've said this about him a few times before. So we got the Street Profits versus Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin, which this was a match that I was not interested in watching. Not because of Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins and Sami Zayn, because Baron Corbin was in the match. Because this match kind of just really doesn't make sense. I hope this is not leading to Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin becoming a team. Is SmackDown really trying to... Oh! Yeah. Speaking of SmackDown Tag Division, you want to know whose idea this was to have Sami Zayn teaming up with Baron Corbin? You guessed it, folks. Fucking Bruce Pritchard. You guessed it. Bruce Pritchard's idea, man, to have Sami Zayn team up with Baron Corbin. Everybody in the chat, what do y'all think of this team of Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin? You think it's going to succeed or nah? I don't think they are. This team the team of Sami Zayn and Corbin looks fucking terrible. Sami Zayn is better off as singles competitor. I don't care what anybody says. That's the way I see it. I just cannot see Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin working together as a team Oh my god, that is fucking terrible creative idea right there by Bruce Pritchard. That is fucking terrible. My god. Can they come up with new creative, with new creative ideas instead of coming up with the same garbage, with the same old ass ideas every fucking year? My god, man. It gets fucking boring. It really does. Just like these fucking shows every week get boring. Well, what's not boring was seeing the Street Profits perform in the ring. I love watching the Street Profits and love what they do, man. They are an awesome tag team, man. They absolutely, I can't believe I'm saying this, but they absolutely deserve to be SmackDown Tag Team Champions again, man. For some reason, I think they deserve to be SmackDown Tag Team Champions again. I don't know why I'm saying that, but it's the truth. But I'm afraid it's leading to Otis and Chad Gable being the Dirty Dogs' next challengers, which I don't know why. It doesn't make sense. They're both heels. Both tag teams are heels. Why would you want the Dirty Dogs versus Chad Gable and Otis when you can continue the Street Profits Dirty Dogs feud? When you can easily have the Dirty Dogs continue to feud with the Street Profits. But we would love to see the Dirty Dogs versus Rey Mysterio, Dominik. Some people would. I don't know about me. I don't know if I want to see that. And I wasn't referring to me. I was referring to the community. When I meant by we. So anyway, Street Profits versus Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin. They start proceedings with Montez Ford and Sami Zayn. Montez forces Sami to the corner with a walk-up. The referee separates them, and Zayn takes advantage to kick him. They whip forward to the corner, but Montez jumps over Zayn and backflips across the ring. Sami runs into an arm drag, and Montez tags Dawkins, who asks for Corbin, and Sami happily tags out. Now, the two big men lock up, and Dawkins tags a headlock, but gets shot off and shoulder tackles Corbin, who just falls into the ropes and hits a shoulder tackle of his own. Dawkins dodges Corbin and hits a dropkick, then takes a wrist lock as Zayn directs his cameraman to get closer to the action. Corbin attempts the out and in clothesline, but Zayn's cameramen are in the way. Corbin yells at them and gets on the apron, but the Profits hit Poetry in motion to knock him off. Commercial break, back live, and Corbin and Zayn are beating on Ford using quick tags. Zayn is legal, and he grabs Montez by the ankle. Ford dives to make a tag. Dawkins comes in, clotheslines, and a spinning back elbow to Zayn, followed by a spinning splash in the corner, and a bulldog for a near fall. Corbin runs in, but Dawkins tosses him over the ropes to the floor. Zayn hits a DDT for a near fall, and suddenly, punching one. Zayn shouts at Corbin from the ring, but Montez dives over him onto Corbin on the floor. Then Dawkins hits Zayn with a spinning neckbreaker. Ford tags in and hits a springboard false splash for the win. Basically, the heavens. That's what they call it. The heavens. For the win. That's what Michael Cole and Corey Graves calls it. Calls his frog splash. Now, I will say this was a fairly formulaic tag team match that gave the Profits a big win as they continue to chase a rematch for the tag titles, while also creating further tension between Corbin and Zayn. What WWE's ultimate goal with Corbin and Zayn is if any, remains to be seen, but their dissension late was as big a story as the babyface victory. And that should not be much of a surprise given the company's long focus on singles wrestlers at the expense of the tag team division. So Caleb Braxton interviews Daniel Bryan backstage and asked about the prospect of facing Edge at WrestleMania. Bryan says that's a long ways away because he has to beat J Uso, then Roman Reigns Fastlane, but he thinks his chances are really good. He says he has nothing but respect for Edge, but he's taken a lot of time off and he might be rusty. He's always been honest with Edge and he doesn't think he has what it takes. Edge appears and passive-aggressively asks Bryan why he thinks he can easily beat Roman. Edge then asks Bryan who would win if they faced off at WrestleMania, and Bryan says he'll keep that answer to himself. Commercial break. Seth Rollins comes to the ring wearing a white suit. He says he is here to share some incredible news. The letter he wrote last week to complain to WWE management got a big response on social media. Cesaro's music hits, and out comes the Swiss Superman wearing just a pair of jeans, and he means business. Rollins makes him back off and says they go back a long way, so just give him a chance to make things right. What happened 2 weeks ago was an accident. Yeah, sure it was, Seth. Yeah, sure fucking thing, Messiah. Sure thing. And last week he didn't call him a loser. Seth Rollins says Cesaro is a star and he can grab the brass ring of crack the glass ceiling anytime he likes. Okay. No, what the fuck he's talking about. The strongest person, pound for pound, the most technically gifted athlete to ever step foot in the WWE ring. We all know that because everybody has said that to Cesaro so many times that I guarantee you Cesaro gets annoyed when he hears it. It probably gets him a headache when he hears it. Now, he says, why does Cesaro always come up short? What is he missing? He knows. He has it. It's killer instinct. Yeah, sure. Sure thing. Sure it is. He has it, and he can give it to Cesaro. He wants to lead, shattered the glass ceiling, and done everything there is to do. He's already said ceiling. He's already said it one time. That's the second time in a row Seth Rollins said ceiling. Does Seth Rollins even know what promo he wants to cut when he gets to the ring? Really? How are you going to say ceiling the first time and then say it the second time? What the hell is this? Jesus Christ. The heck is this, man? So Seth has shattered the glass ceiling and done everything there is to do, and he can teach Cesaro how they can be unstoppable. Seth says if Cesaro has listened to him last week, he'd be standing here, Universal Champion right now. He tells him to embrace the vision. Now, when he mentions vision, I'm thinking he's referring to the art of vision. The Vision, Vanessa Bourne. When he says vision, I'm thinking he's referring to Vanessa Bourne, but maybe not. Could we see perhaps Vanessa Bourne join him? Maybe. Could we see Becky Lynch make her return? We could see Vanessa Bourne feuding with Becky Lynch. I don't know. I think, but when he said vision, I'm thinking, Vanessa Bourne is the art of vision. So maybe he's referring to Vanessa Bourne. I don't know. She's the Vision. She's the Vision. She's the actual Vision. It just makes so much sense that he's mentioning Vision. That's why I mentioned her name. That's her gimmick name, the Vision. But he tells him to embrace the Vision and let him lead. Cesaro grabs Rollins by the leg and gives him the swing for well over a minute before releasing and sending him across the ring. Rollins can barely stand, but Cesaro drops him with a European uppercut. So we got Bryan vs. Jey Uso, main event of SmackDown. We all know J Uso is called the main eventer now. That's his gimmick name, the main eventer. Now, before I go over what went down between Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso, I just want to go ahead and throw out there and say that Rollins has a history of talking the underrated and underappreciated into following his lead. He did the same with Buddy Murphy, and in the process helped him achieve the sort of success on the main roster the Aussie had only dreamed of. So I guess it made some sort of sense that he would think he could manipulate Cesaro into accepting his offer. Having seen that, though, Rollins' repeated displays of self-centeredness, Cesaro rejected the offer and sent him a humiliating physical message that will only help to intensify the program. So there is a match that could easily help Fastlane become one of the dark horse events of the year, but a showdown with Rollins is sort of WrestleMania match that would firmly implant Cesaro at or near the top of the SmackDown brand. Now, if that is the route WWE should go. That's the route WWE should go, especially as it looks to elevate the Swiss cyborg up the card. So that's what I think. Now, Daniel Bryan vs. Uso. Back to that. Now, the match gets underway and Jey attacks Bryan and battering him with forearms in the corner. Bryan whips Jey to the ropes but gets dropped with a shoulder. Bryan then catches Jey with an arm drag, then backs him into the corner and drills him with European uppercuts. Bryan knocks Jey across the ring, then hits for a suicide dive. But gets caught with a super kick. Jey drags Bryan outside and lifts him up to drop him knee first into the announce desk. Jey then lifts Bryan again and runs him knee first into the ring post. Bryan is in trouble as they head to the break. Commercial. Back live. J Uso's in control, targeting Bryan's leg. Jey hits a DDT to the leg. And Bryan tries to lock in the yes lock, but Jey punches the leg over and over to get away. Bryan tries to get up using the ropes and hits Jey with a few uppercuts, but Uso catches Bryan with a Samoan drop for a near fall. Jey goes to the top rope and jumps for the Uso splash, but Debray rolls out of the way. Dang Bryan. That's what I mean by Debray. Dang Bryan. He rolls out of the way. Bryan lands the yes kicks before tossing Jey over the ropes to the floor. Bryan follows up with a drop kick through the ropes, then goes to the apron and leaps off with a flying knee. Bryan punches his own knee a few times to get the feeling back, then gets Jey back in the ring. Bryan leaps from the top rope, but Jey avoids him and he lands on the leg. The Uso shoves Bryan to the corner and stomps on the back of his leg. So that's what happened. He stomped on the back of his leg. And then Uso takes Bryan down and applies a single leg Boston Crab. And Bryan crawls for the ropes, but Jey drags him back to the middle of the ring. Bryan turns over and kicks Uso. Jey holds on and sits back down. Bryan turns over and again and kicks Jey senseless. Bryan hits a kick to the head for a near fall, then goes to the corner and pumps up for the running knee. Bryan hits a football tackle to the knee. Jey hits a super kick to the face for a near fall, and he's getting angry. Uso heads to the top rope and takes his time. Bryan hits Jey on the top rope, then climbs up with him to hit a double arm suplex, and Uso rolls outside, but Bryan goes right after him, only to get whipped into the steel steps. And Uso lifts Bryan and drops his knee on the steps again, and the referee counts at 10. Now, I thought Roman Reigns came in the ring and broke up the pin and ruined the match, but he didn't. I didn't realize that. I watched the whole show. I just didn't realize that the referee had counted at 10. I didn't realize that during that time. I think my mind was somewhere else at the time. I was watching, just my mind was somewhere else. But Jey puts Daniel back in the ring and looks to hit him, but gets caught in the yes lock and is about to tap when Roman attacks. Roman beats Bryan down before turning his attention to Jey berating him. Bryan then catches Roman in the yes lock, but Jey quickly kicks Bryan off. Roman is furious and hits Bryan with a spear and applies the Galaton. Roman chokes Bryan out, and that brings SmackDown to a close. The road to Fastlane became smokier with the outcome to Friday's match. What most assumed would be Bryan versus Reigns following the show long built to is now left in limbo. Following the slow long build to, it is now left in limbo with no real indication that is what will happen. Nor is there any reason to believe Edge will team with Bryan against Uso and Reigns, given the fact that he did not come to the babyface's aid at the close of the show, despite very clearly being in attendance. That he took exception to Bryan trying to jump him in line only further serves as evidence that the Rated R Superstar and Bryan are far from on the same page. Could all of this be heading into a multi-man match at the top of the WrestleMania card? Edge, Bryan, and Uso all have unsettled business with Reigns. Rather, WWE is willing to bring those pieces together instead of a more traditional singles bout remains to be seen. It definitely remains to be seen, folks. Hopefully, we will get our answers on next Friday night's SmackDown. Hopefully. I'm hoping that's when we'll get our answers. I honestly can't wait for next Friday Smackdown. I really can't. I'm interested to see what they got booked and what segments they got for next Friday Smackdown. If I find out any news on what's booked for next Friday for SmackDown, I'll let y'all know. That's gonna do it for your February the 6th, 2021 Friday Night SmackDown review. If you enjoyed this review, hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, hit that thumbs down. Ladies and gentlemen, now I did say I was going to stream some Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War after this, but I actually changed my mind. I'm actually going to push the stream on Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War to this afternoon. Because I am going to be streaming on Call of Duty this afternoon, but this Saturday evening I'm going to be streaming either Dragon Ball FighterZ or Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I don't know. Whichever. But Sunday, I don't know what I'm going to do Sunday. I have no idea. Probably be on social media Sunday. Probably, I don't know. I know I will be. I don't know why I'm saying I don't know, but when I know I will be. But I don't know what I'm streaming Sunday. It could be Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I could be doing Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 content over on Twitch. I could be streaming Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 every Sunday. I think that's what I'm going to start doing. Since some of the people that's been watching my Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 streams been more interested in seeing Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 content on my Twitch channel. If you haven't already subscribed, folks, please hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up, hit that thumbs down if you enjoyed this review. Thank you for those of you that tried to come in, that tried to join me for my SmackDown review. You know, most people don't pay attention to my tweets. Most people don't pay attention to my Facebook posts either. Hell, most importantly, most people don't even try to pay attention to my channel for some reason. People just don't care about other people. That's the way it is, man. It's the way it is out here, man. People don't care about other people. I wish people would start caring about other people first before they're caring about themselves. I know some of you think, man, that's backwards, but that's the truth. You have plenty of time to care about yourself. You know? Just like you have a lot of time to care about other people. But anyways, folks, I'm getting out of here, man. Life is crazy out here, man. Be careful. People just don't care about anything anymore. So much crime and violence and racial slurs and all this bullshit going on. People just cannot stop. People like that won't stop. Because they have not been raised good by their parents. And their parents ain't taught them better. Parents ain't taught them well. That's what I'm going to say about that one. Their parents need to raise them, teach them lessons, teach them how to, not talk back to grown people. Teach them not to talk back to grown men and grown women, you know what I mean? But, seriously, I'm getting out of here. Thank you for joining me for my SmackDown review. Have a good day. Peace. I'm getting out of here. See ya on my Call of Duty stream this afternoon.